Thank you. What a wonderful welcome. Thank you. My gosh, how many people are here today? Fantastic. Thank you all for coming. I'm humbled, absolutely humbled. Thank you.
Well, they're all big fans of yours.
Thank you again. Thank you.
I'm sure the audience has a ton of questions, so we'll get to as many as we can from you guys. But I just want to kick it off. I heard that you had a little mishap on the set of Princess Bride, and I just want to kick it off by finding out what exactly that was.
Well, I was a little accident prone on this movie. My first injury happened on an all-terrain vehicle, and you're probably wondering how that happened. Well, I'll explain. Andre, God bless him, being the tall giant that he was in real life, could not get to the set very easily. So production provided him with the only all-terrain vehicle in England in 1987, which was a little red three-wheeler all-terrain vehicle, which Andre loved. I mean, he would ride around on this thing even when he wasn't going to work. He was just speeding. You never saw a giant move so fast in your life. Just going right by, right? So I'm preparing to do the scene with Buttercup on the top of the hill where we fall down and I say those three words and so on, right? And I'm getting dressed and I'm putting on my mask and everything, and Andre comes up on his all-terrain vehicle and he called everybody boss, which is hilarious because, you know, 7 foot tall, to be calling anyone boss is hilarious for a giant. Anyway, he comes up to me and goes, "Hey boss." I go, "Hi Andre." He goes, "You like my toy?" Pointing to the all-terrain vehicle, I go, "That's very nice, Andre. It looks like a lot of fun." "It is fun. You want to try it?" So being what I thought would be the professional actor at the time and not wanting to risk life or limb, I went, "Well, Andre, maybe another time." "You know you want to." Another time, Andre. Zooms away, we start to shoot the scene, we do another setup and move the camera. Andre comes back on the all-terrain. He's like, "Hey boss." I go, "Yes, Andre." "You know you want to." This went on for hours. And you know, not many people say no to a giant, you know what I mean? But I eventually caved because silly as I was, I thought, sure, why not? I'll try it. I've never been on an all-terrain vehicle in my life. And there's a good reason why not. So I get on this thing. By the way, when he got off it, the thing went up another 3 feet high. And his bodyguard, he had a bodyguard, how about that? His body, like he needed a bodyguard. I said to this guy, what are you defending him from, the flu? He goes, "Oh, it's very simple, governor. It's just like a motorbike. Clutch pedal, gear, brake, on-off switch, Bob's your uncle." That should have told me something right there.
It should have.
I get on this thing, I put it into first gear, I lurch forward, and I didn't get further than 2 feet when I went over a rock, and I caught my big left toe between the clutch pedal and the rock, and it just snapped like that. Just like that. And I thought, great. I've just broken my toe. And we're in the first week of filming, folks. I haven't even shot the sword fighting scene yet, right? So now I'm thinking, I'm sweating. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna be fired, for sure. I mean, it's crazy. What am I gonna say to Rob Reiner? I can't sword fight with a broken toe. So now I'm like acting like it's no big deal. And the first AD runs up to me, the assistant director, and with the set nurse, because they always have a nurse on the set. And they come up to me, and they go, what happened? I go, and I pretend like it was no big deal. I go, "Oh, it's nothing." You know, I pretend like I was the knight in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. "No, it's just a fish wound, it's nothing. And the set nurse goes, "Let's take the boot off and have a look." So they pull the boot off, and there's my toe all red and pointing in the wrong direction and everything. And she goes, "Oh, it's broken." And I'm still being the black man, going, no, it's nothing at all, nothing, it's just a sprain. She goes, "No, look, it's pointing in the wrong direction, and first AD saying it's time to go back to work, right? So I say to the nurse, what can you do? Is there anything you can do? I gotta shoot the scene. And is there anything you can come up with? She goes, I'm a set nurse. I mean, I take care of people. I've got something for a stomachache, something for a headache, but I don't know, I can't mend a broken toe. You have to go to the hospital. So I said, is there anything at all, please? And she goes, well, I suppose I could make a splint. I go, great, do that. So she grabs a couple of twigs, and some tape, and she pushes the toe back in. That didn't hurt at all. And she tapes it to my other toes, and now the boot won't fit because it's all swollen, and they have to cut the boot. And all right, so now I've got my boot back on. I get back in the van to go up to the set to finish shooting the scene with Robin. And it's the slowest journey I've ever taken in my life. The first AD's in the back of the van with the set nurse, and I overhear the set nurse tell the first AD, she goes, I think he fell on his head as well. Right? I get to the set, and I say to myself, I'm gonna brave it out. I'm just gonna brazen it out. I'm gonna tell Rob it's no big deal, and hopefully it'll all just go away, which is crazy, really, right? I wasn't thinking straight. So I get out of the van, and I put all the pressure on that left foot and walk right up to Rob. And Rob's standing there by the monitor, and he goes, hey, Cary, how you doing? Just like that. And I'm thinking, oh, he doesn't know. Perfect. I go, fine, Rob. How are you? He goes, I'm good, but how you doing? Like that. And then I realized he knew, right? So I go, Rob, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a twit. I was riding around Andre's all-terrain vehicle, and then I went over a rock, and I think I may have broken my toe. Like that. And he goes, you think I don't know? I'm the director. I know everything that happens on the set. I overheard the walkie-talkie that Cary can't walk too good. He broke his toe. I said, I'm so sorry, Rob. Yeah, I was afraid you were going to fire me. And he was so sweet about it. He's like, of course I'm not going to fire you, but can you walk on it? I go, yeah. He goes, can you run? I go, wouldn't it be an interpretive dance? But we'll get around to it. Anyway, thank God the toe healed by the time we finished the movie, which is, we shot the sword fight scene at the very end of the film. But if you look at the film again, you'll see me hopping in a couple of scenes. Like when we're running out of towards the fire swamp, and I turn to Buttercup and I say, your pink fiancé is too late, you'll see one of those interpretive dances right there. Pretty interesting.
That's amazing. That was on the first week of filming, right?
First week.
I want to take you back to the first time you worked with Andre.
Okay.
The very first day you met him.
The first day with Andre was the scene on the balcony of the castle, the parapet of the castle, where we're about to storm Humperdinck's castle. And it was myself and Mandy and Andre. And so we rehearsed the scene, and I mean, you guys probably know the lines better than I do, but I think Mandy says, or Andre says, Fezzik says, how long before you think it takes effect? And Montoya says, your guess is as good as mine. And then I come to and I say, I'll fight you both together, beat you both apart. Something like that, right? And Andre says, I guess not very long. Like that, right? Andre didn't get to the word long when he let out the most monumental fart. No. Listen, you guys, we've all accused each other of a giant fart. This was a giant fart, people. I'm not kidding. This set that we built was shaking. People were grabbing it, shaking like this. Somebody timed it. It's 22 seconds, that's a long time for a fart. Think about it, okay? People were freaking out. I think people from 5 miles away stopped what they were doing and listened. It was insane. I looked over at the sound man, and he had a headset on, and he literally lifted it away from his ears like that. I swear. And when he was finally done, I couldn't look at it because there was steam coming out of the top of his head. I don't know why, between the fart that seemed to go on forever and the steam, I was like, I'm done, I can't look at him. When he was finally finished, there was a long, quiet, serious silence. Because, what's great in America is when you fart here, people call you, they're like, dude, please, I'm gonna win, come on. But in England, when someone farts, they all get very serious. They're like, oh gosh, looks like rain or something. Very weird. They all get very weird, right? So there was this really embarrassed silence after this monumental fart that could be heard in China. And finally, Rob Reiner, the director, goes, I swear to God, this is what he said, he goes, hey, Andre, you okay? Swear to God. And you know what Andre said?
What?
He goes, I am now, boss. True story. Crazy.
I also understand that Wally was maybe a little bit nervous.
Yes.
About playing his role. Can you tell me about that? Is that true?
Absolutely. It's so bizarre. Wally Shawn is a wonderful actor. He's a playwright. He's a writer. And one of the smartest guys in the world that you'll ever meet. I mean, he was perfect casting for Vizzini because, when he says that line, Plato, Socrates, morons, it's bright because he's a genius, right? And I'll never forget, I only had one scene with him, right, which is the iocane powder scene. And I got to the set, and he was sweating. And it wasn't particularly warm. In England, it never gets particularly warm, right? But I saw him sweating, and I'm thinking, how come Wally Shawn, the smartest guy in the room, is sweating over this little scene? I couldn't understand it. So I went up to him and I said, is everything okay? He goes, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Turns out later on, he told me over dinner that his agent had told him that he wasn't the first choice for the role of Vizzini. I don't know, inconceivable, right? His agent told him that Danny DeVito was the first choice. I know. And poor Wally, who's a very sensitive guy, was carrying that with him the whole time. He said, he came up to me the second day and he goes, they're gonna fire me. They're gonna fire me, they're gonna send me home, and I'm sure Danny DeVito's on the plane already, and everyone was saying to me, you're crazy, Wally, I mean, you're fantastic. And then he went up to Rob Reiner, said the same thing, he goes, it's okay, my bag is packed, I'm ready to go. And Rob's like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, it's okay, I'm sure Danny's already here, it's fine. And Rob goes, well, what's the matter with you, Wally? He goes, I don't know why you cast me in this role. I'm not even Sicilian, I'm a Jew from New York. I mean, but Rob said to him, but Wally, when you get angry, your face goes red and it's funny. And to this day, I don't think Wally Shawn knows how great he is in that role. And right, I mean, is he not fantastic?
It was fantastic all around. That's why it's, coming up on its 30th anniversary.
That's right.
People love it. People love it, right guys?
Thank you.
So, I know you guys want to ask questions. We're going to have if you've been in here, you know what to do. Raise your hand and one of these Denver people will find you and you will have your chance. And while you guys are getting organized out there, I want to ask you.
Sure.
What was it like working with Billy Crystal?
Oh my God, he was adorable. Billy is great. Billy arrived in October of '86 when we shot the film, and he and Carol Kane only had 3 days' work playing Miracle Max and Valerie. But they had to go through about 7 hours of makeup, all that prosthetics, right? And so I watched Billy get ready in the makeup trailer, and it was amazing how he became Miracle Max. He totally became the character. By the end of the time, when they put his cataracts in, and his wig, and his varicose vein, by the end of it, he was talking like Miracle Max. And he even went to the commissary, which is the diner on the sound stages where we're working. And he stayed in character the whole time. He took a tray, it was just like a cafeteria in high school. He took a tray, and then he walked down and he found the lady who was serving the food, and he goes to her, he goes, The shepherd's pie. Is it spicy? And she goes, oh, not particularly, sir, no. And he goes, you don't like corn. Things like that. He would do things like that. I mean, just crazy. But when we came to shoot the scene together, I had to play dead, right? I had a very easy scene. I had to say true love when he pumped my chest, whatever. And I'm really just laying there doing not much. And first take, Rob comes up to me and goes, Cary, I was looking in the monitor, we can see your chest moving. You gotta stop breathing. I said, for how long? He goes, don't worry, just a couple of minutes. Then he walked over to Billy and he whispered something in his ear. I didn't find out until I had dinner with Rob Reiner about a year ago. And what he whispered in Billy's ear was this: just go for it. Right? Not that Billy needed much coaching. Rob yells action, and Billy launches into, I swear to God, 3 hours of medieval Yiddish stand-up. I mean, and some of it was very blue. There are kids here. I can't repeat some of it, but it involves Vikings and sheep, okay? Crazy, crazy. So we're laughing hysterically, right? Rob Reiner is laughing so hard, the sound guy banishes him from the set. He says, I'm sorry, Governor, you're ruining the tape. I'll have to be off the soundstage. And Rob says, what are you talking about? I got to direct the film. Where am I going to go? They set him up the monitor out in the hallway because his laugh is so loud. Take 2. More sheep, more Vikings, whatever, and the whole thing crazy. I start laughing. Of course, I'm supposed to be playing dead. Forget that. So they replaced me with my rubber dummy, the one that pheasants running around with in the forest. Right? Now I'm in the hallway watching. It's just down to Mandy and Andre. And Andre's just laughing like this. Kind of like Lurch, you know? And Mandy says, and he swears to this day, it's the only injury he got on the movie, he said he bruised a rib trying to hold his laugh. So, that was the day we got.
I can imagine the whole shoot was probably
crazy.
Yeah, just crazy. Let's take our first question. Right
Sure.
here.
Hi.
Hi, Cary. Thank you for coming to Denver. I'm very excited to see you.
Thank you. What's your name?
Joelle.
Joelle?
Yes.
Hi, Joelle.
Hi. I would like to ask you really quick about Psych.
Okay.
I was wondering how you got onto Psych. Were you approached by James Roday, or did you approach them?
I would have approached them because I love the show so much, but they actually approached me and they said they wrote the character for me. I know, how crazy is that? I know, right? Yeah, very, very blessed. Lovely role, desperate, great fun to play. And those guys were crazy. I mean, so funny. I'll never forget the first day of shooting. I'm on the set and James and Dulé were being chased by bad guys around a cabin or something. And then Dulé did this little girly scream. He went, ah! And I lost it. I forgot that he did that. I was a little lost. I ruined the tape because it's the most ridiculous little girly cry. Have you ever seen him do it? It's ludicrous. It's totally ludicrous. These guys were so funny. There are so many outtakes. I hope they publish them all someday. I mean, we laughed so hard on that show. Crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And you were great. Big fan of the show. Hi, right here.
So to build on that actually is, what is your favorite episode that you filmed from that show?
Favorite episode?
Yeah.
Gosh, they were all fun. The Rusty Dagger was pretty silly. Honestly, I had so much fun doing it. It all became one experience for me. I would just look forward to getting that call to come on back and do some more. I mean, they wrote that show was really well written, I thought. It was very funny, little 80s references, right? Yeah, there you go. All 80s references, and I was sad when it got canceled. I mean, the show was a phenomenal hit for USA, and I'm sad it went away. But anyway, it's there. If you ever want to go online and check it out, it's always there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome solo. Is that a solo? What have you got there?
Oh, it's just the marker, so she does put it.
Oh, I see. I need that because I'm kind of blind.
And guess what? It's your turn again.
Hi.
Hi.
I would say I'm a huge fan, but
What's your name?
Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. How are you? I need a hug.
Hannah, you just made every girl's dream. I hope you remember that moment forever. And do you remember your question? That's what I thought. He has a way of doing that to people.
I was gonna ask, how closely do you think you relate to the character Peter Despereaux?
How close am I to
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of myself, obviously, in every character I play. Am I, an art thief in real life? No. Do I have a witty repartee that he has? Yeah, a little. But I'm better when I have a writer writing them out for me. But yeah, no, I think you give a little bit of yourself, obviously, in every role you can play. That's inevitable. But yeah, playing a British guy was obviously, it's the first time I played a Brit in a long, long time. So that was fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the part.
And now we're back to Peter. Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
Greg.
Craig?
Yes.
Hi, Craig.
Wait, where are you?
Where are you?
Because we're looking at Liz.
I'm looking at this.
Up in the cheap seats.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
God bless you.
Way up there. Okay, hi, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I work at a bookstore, and I highly recommend your book to
Oh,
people.
thank you.
I was just wondering what the experience was like for you writing that.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was very lucky. I had a co-writer, a guy by the name of Joe Layton. Simon Schuster, who published the book, came to me and they said, so look, we're going to send you a bunch of writers' books to read, and then whichever writer you think is closest to the kind of work that you'd like to do, we'll set you up with that guy, and he'll help you write it. It's like a ghostwriter. You help her organize your thoughts and the interviews and everything. And so they sent me a lot of writers, and I found this one guy, Joe Layton. It turns out he'd co-written, 4 New York Times bestsellers already. I thought, that's the guy right there. And he's terrific guy. And together we really molded the story and how to tell it. And it was a beautiful journey for me. I learned so much. There's so much work involved in writing a book. It's more than like a movie. It took me almost a year to write. And I had a lot of help. It takes a village, really. There's all kinds of editors involved. But it was a beautiful experience. I learned so much. And it was nice to go back and remember, I was just terrified when I got offered the opportunity to write the book. I'll never forget, they called me at home and they said, so, we'd like to pitch this idea. And of course I said, yes. What was I going to say? No, right? And I said, yeah, sure, sounds terrific. And then I hung up and I turned to my wife and I go, that was 20 years and I only remember maybe 3 stories, right? So I was kind of afraid to share that with them. So I called Norman Lear. Norman Lear, if you don't know who he is the producer of The Princess Bride. He also produced some great TV in the 70s. All in the Family, Archie Bunker's House, and The Jeffersons, and he's a great producer. And I called him and I said, Norman, I have an issue. I've been asked to write this book, but I don't remember all the stories from the set. And Norman helped me. Norman said, here's what I'm going to do for you, Cary. I'm going to send you all the call sheets. And the call sheets are what you get given as a member of the crew that tells you what you're shooting that day, what your call time is, and where the location is, and so on, including all the rehearsals and everything. And he said, when I send those to you, you look at them, it'll help jog your memory. And about a week later, after I had lunch with him, he sent me this beautiful bound dossier filled with all the call sheets, and all in order, and I literally opened the first one up, and it was like I was right back there 25 years ago. It was incredible, and it helped me enormously because I suddenly remembered all these stories that I'd forgotten about, including the fart and everything. And of course I remembered where I was, what I was shooting, and what scene I was doing, and everything. It was great, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. And the book's fantastic, by the way. If you haven't read it, you should definitely pick up a
Thank you,
copy.
Claire.
Yeah, let's go right here.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, my name is Tara Sunter, and I wanted to have you share a memory from Twister.
Okay.
You're such a rebel.
Sure. Twister. Okay. So we filmed that in Oklahoma City. Yes. Let's hear it for Oklahoma. Wonderful people in Oklahoma, by the way. We were in Ponca City and in Norman. Yes, Ponca. There's a few people from Ponca here. Okay. And it was a long shoot. We spent about 6 months making that movie. A long, long time together. So we had a lot of time off. And so the producer of the film was a lovely lady by the name of Kathy Kennedy, who works with Steven Spielberg a lot. You've seen her name on Raiders and a lot of movies of Steven's, yeah? And I went up to her one day in the trailer and I said, Kathy, I'm playing this storm chaser. I feel like I need to go out there and chase a storm. And she looked at me and said, what are you, out of your mind? I wouldn't let you ride a motorbike. Forget chase a storm. Or an all-terrain vehicle. I go, no, but Kathy, look, if I take a real storm chaser with me and maybe somebody, you know, who knows how to drive really well, would you trust me with it? And she said, no way, forget it, it's not happening. And I worked on her for days. I'm like, I'm an actor, I need to get out there and experience it. How can I possibly, you know, all this stuff about needing to be, you know, in the moment and experience the Twister. And I don't know what I was talking about at all, really, because you don't really need to chase the Twister to play a storm chaser, okay? This was all in my head. Finally, she relented. She's like, all right, you need to take a walkie-talkie with you. I want a bodyguard. I want a real storm chaser. And I want the guy who's our consultant to be on the radio with you all the time. And if you ever get close to one, he'll get you out of trouble. I'm like, great, thank you, Kathy, that's terrific, right? This is how silly I was. I get in the car and we drive to a place called Pretty Prairie, Texas, which is where the storm chaser says there's a cell appearing, right? And we're driving around and we don't see anybody, and suddenly there's hail the size of golf balls hitting us. And the storm chaser in the back seat, he's got his computer, he goes, it should be around here someplace. It's definitely close. You know, meanwhile, the car is getting dented from all this hail. And we turn a corner and suddenly there is like an F3, right? And I swear to God, don't try this at home, folks. Trust me, this ain't no joke. I literally almost peed my pants. I'm not kidding. This thing came toward us so fast. I remember sitting in the front seat, I turned to the driver, reverse. And he goes, what? I go, reverse now. He goes, what? I go, get out of here now! And he put the car in reverse. We've never sped so fast back to Oklahoma. You have no idea. And when I come back, Kathy goes, are you happy now?
You said yes.
Yes.
Let's go right over here. Hi.
Hi there. What's your name?
My name is Matt.
Where are you?
Right here.
Lift up your hand. There you are. Hi.
Hi. So this morning I was in Lena Headley's panel. And Heidi, yes. And I was curious.
Better get that right if you meet her again. Just kidding, just kidding.
No, I'm sure it's important.
That's all right.
But my bigger question is,
Yes.
how do you properly respond to Queen Cersei walking up behind you and grabbing your butt with both hands?
I'm sure that's not the first butt she's ever grabbed. No, she's terrific. Lena and I had a terrific time. We made a movie years back. You may not have seen it. It was called The Jungle Book. It was the first Jungle Book. Thank you. And it was her first movie, and she was a pro. I mean, we already knew working with her on that show. We were like, okay, this girl's a star. You know, I mean, she was fantastic. And I recommend, if you haven't seen it, go back and look at it. She's great. It's a great cast. Sam Neill, Jason Scott-Lee, John Cleese is in it. It's a great cast. It was great fun. We filmed in India. It was a lot of fun. She's terrific. I love it dearly. I mean, how great is she in Game of Thrones, right?
She's
I mean,
fantastic. She's amazing. Thank you. Yes, hi.
Hi.
What was your most uncomfortable scene in The Princess Bride?
You're so sweet. What's your name?
Caitlin?
Caitlin, you're getting a hug too. Victoria. 11. How many times have you seen the film?
Once, but I really love it.
That's so sweet. Were you scared by the rouses, the rodents of unusual size?
No.
You weren't scared by that? You're lucky you didn't hear the fart. You'd have been pretty scared by that, I'm sure. My favorite scene, you mean acting or the moment that happened? Like the fart was pretty funny. It was hard to forget that. You mean like what scene, performance-wise?
Yeah.
Performance-wise, I would have to say that I was very proud of the fencing because we worked really hard on that, and plus I had a broken toe, so I was pretty amazed I could get through that. But yeah, I really was happy that that came off well because we both had to learn how to be left-handed and we learned each other's parts and everything. You're very sweet, you know that? Can I get another hug? You're first. Oh, sorry. You're alone. You want to hug too? Of course. And you want to hug as well? I would love to hug you all. Truly. True. Thank you. All right. Here we go.
Thank you for that. This is the lucky spot today. All right, let's go over here. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carl. I had the pleasure of meeting you in Salt Lake in 2014.
Hi, Carl. Raise your arm for me.
Boom.
There you are. Hey, man.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Wonderful. No, I just have to say, meeting you then and meeting you now, every time, it's always inspiration. And it's true. Just to say, since meeting you, I've become a professional working actor.
Awesome.
Through your
Congratulations. Give it up for this man.
But it's through your advice and through your book and hearing even just the preparation for Princess Bride. But on that note, you recently got to work on a project with Mandy Patinkin again.
Yes.
And you also got to work with Rob Reiner again.
Yes.
What was it like to come back with people who you built a classic with this many years later, still working in the business?
Good question. It was wonderful. It was very serendipitous, really, that I got to work with both these people 30 years after I'd worked with them, which is very strange and unusual. I mean, look, the chance of working with one of them, yeah, like, okay, that could work. But the chances of working with both of them in the same year, that doesn't happen. So I was very lucky. Rob Reiner directed a film that unfortunately came out the same week as Civil War. Yeah, that's a good weekend to open an indie film on. Yeah. But it was a beautiful film. I'm very proud of it. His son wrote the screenplay, and it's about his own journey and struggles with addiction. And it's a beautiful film. It's called Being Charlie, and I recommend if you can find it somewhere online or on your pay-per-view or DVD, please watch. It's a very beautiful film. I'm very proud of it, and Rob directed it very, very beautifully. Mandy and I got cast in a film with Penelope Cruz this summer, which we just wrapped, and we got to film in Madrid, which was a lot of fun. And it's a combination English-speaking, Spanish-speaking film, and it's a sequel. Penelope made a film about 8 years ago called The Girl of Your Dreams, and it was directed by a guy called Fernando Troy, a wonderful Spanish director. And this is a sequel to that film, and her character, who's called Macarena, plays a Spanish movie star in the 750s. And in this sequel, she comes back from America with an American cast, American director, an American writer played by Mandy, and an American actor, leading man, played by yours truly. And yes, so it was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was nice to see Mandy. I hadn't seen him in a long time, not since the reunion at Lincoln Center. So it was nice to see him again. He's doing great, and he's wonderful in the picture. So yeah.
Thank you, and congratulations to you. That's awesome. Hi.
Hi there.
Hey, Cary.
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
I'm awesome. Nice meeting you.
Hi.
I was just wondering if you could tell us your favorite part of Robin Hood Men in Tights.
These stand-up moments.
Right? You know what my favorite moment was getting that part. Because I was at home watching TV when the phone rang, And I picked it up, and I heard the voice on the other end go, "Hello, it's Mel Brooks." And you know what I said? I said, "Yeah, right." Because, I mean, why would Mel Brooks be calling me at home? I mean, that makes sense. Phone rang, and he goes, don't hang up, it's really me." And I said, "Wow, Mel, why are you calling?" And he told me he was making this film about Robin Hood. And, oh my gosh, too much fun. Too much fun. One shouldn't have that much fun and get paid for it. It's just Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle kept us in stitches every day. And I'm still very close with him. He came to do the Montreal Laugh Fest last year. And if you haven't seen Dave do a stand-up, obviously it's not for the kids, you know. But as adults, if you haven't seen it, go see it. The guy is still brilliant, absolutely hilarious. And yeah, we had a lot of fun making that. Patrick Stewart, of course, who's a dear old friend, who's in the picture. He's delightful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, that's a great example because that's such an iconic movie in and of itself. You've been a part of such iconic projects and all perfectly cast. Do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite? I always say I'm blessed to be a working actor. Honestly, I have had such an incredible career. If you look at my work, I mean, I'm so blessed. Really, I got to work with incredible directors, with incredible actors. You know, as an actor, I got to race cars with Tom Cruise at Daytona. I get to learn how to work an Apollo 11 command module with Bryan Cranston. You know, I mean, I've had an incredible career, so I don't consider any particular film better or worse than the other. All the experiences have been so incredibly fulfilling, and I'm so grateful for them all that I can't sort of pick one over another, really, you know? Yeah.
It's like picking a favorite child.
Right?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Where are you? Put your hand up.
Right here.
Hi there. What's your name?
My name's Daphne.
Stephanie?
Daphne.
Daphne, how are you?
I'm good.
Are you just going for a hug? That's fine. Just ask your question. See what happens.
You kind of took my question for the Men in Tights, but I also want to ask you,
Sure.
what was it like to work with Tracy Ullman as Latrine?
Hilarious. Tracy Ullman was hilarious. And she came up with that whole look for Latrine herself. And she was very funny. I didn't actually have any scenes with her, which I was kind of bummed out about. But I was instrumental in getting Dom DeLuise cast. I made sure that Dom, and you know the actor who played the hangman, who was in Blazing Saddles? I got him in the movie too. Yeah. And so Mel was so sweet. He was like, "Sure, whatever you want, I'll call, we'll get him." You know, he was adorable. And we laughed our way through that whole picture. I mean, honestly, Roger Reese, God bless him. Roger, what a sweet man he was. You know, I hit him on the head with a sword one day in rehearsal. He never complained about it. He had a bump on his head the size of a golf ball. He was totally cool about it. He's like, "Cary, it's nothing." I said, "But Roger, I just hit you with a sword." He goes, "It happens." I mean, he was a gentleman. He was a total gentleman. No, he wonderful cast, really. I mean, that's Mel, by the way. His casting in films is incredible, really. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
Great
much.
question. Yes. Let's go over here to the middle. Hi.
Hi there, where are you? Lift up your hand. There you are. Hi, what's your name?
Alex.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Good.
What's your question?
I actually have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
My first question is, how did you feel when you got your part for Princess Bride?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. Okay. How did I feel? Nervous, excited, elated, grateful, scared, petrified. I mean, don't forget, I was an unknown actor at the time. You know, today, if this film was made today, I wouldn't be casting it because they couldn't raise the money on my name. There's no way. Robin Wright had more experience than I. She'd been doing a daytime soap opera called Santa Barbara. And and she was kind of an unknown, except for that. And so we were both unknowns being cast in the leads in this film. So Norman Lear and Rob Reiner were taking a huge gamble on us, right? And it could have failed terribly, which it did when the movie came out. It just bombed terribly. It didn't make its money until 10 years later in DVD and VHS. How many people here own VHS? People still hold on to that copy. I sign them every day. I come out to these things. Incredible. And it was just one of those wonderful things where I was so grateful to be a part of working with these actors. I knew all their work. Chris Sarandon I knew from Dog Day After. You wouldn't know that, you're too young. Carol Kane, I knew her work from Last Detail and Carnal Knowledge. I knew, again, you should watch that film. Anyway, I knew all the actors, Billy Crystal from Saturday Night Live and what have you. So I was a little intimidated coming to work with all these fabulous people. But what was so great is that they all made me feel very, very welcome. And Rob was set the tone by just keeping it very loose and fun. So I was very, very fortunate. Yeah.
Great question.
Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. What's your other question, Alex?
My other question is, how did you feel when you heard the big bark?
I thought I'd lost an eardrum. Because I was this side of him, and this ear was ringing for quite some time. I thought I had tinnitus. It was extraordinary. Yeah.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll take one here and one here. So let's go over here real quick. Hi.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
My name is Zach with a Q.
Hi. Hi, Zach with a Q.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
My question is probably what every fangirl and some fanboys such as myself have been asking this ever since you came up on stage. Can you please look straight in the camera down the middle and say your 3 famous words?
Guys, were you able to hear that? Okay, Rich, this camera right here. Am I looking into lens?
That'll do. You're doing good.
As you wish. Thank you. There'll be 3 words on my tombstone for sure. Billy Crystal said I should write mostly dead on there.
Last question. Hi, sweetie.
Hi, sweetie. What's your name?
Rebecca.
Rebecca, you're getting a hug. Come on. It's ridiculous, how cute. What's your name? How old are you? Huh? 14, you get a hug right now. What's your question?
What was it like to wrestle with you under lessons?
Good question. Really good question. Okay, so there were little people inside that. Let me get up here so everyone can hear me. So this is a good question. The ROUSs. Okay, so when we shot the scene with the guys dressed as rats, they were little people, right? And they had to be sewn into the costume. Yeah. And it was filled with foam, latex, rubber, and it was boiling on the set. I mean, they had hot lights on there and everything. And the stuntman came up to us and said, you know, we can only shoot maybe 5 minutes of fighting before these guys need some air. So just, you know, if you can try and get it right, that would help. Don't roll over the wrong way. Don't hit him on the wrong side, all that, right? So we got to shoot the scene, and we were about to roll camera when the producer came over and went, we don't have time, we have to wrap for the day. We'll have to shoot the scene tomorrow. So Rob said, okay, we'll pick it up tomorrow morning. So we come back to work the next day, and the guy who's playing the guy who's gonna wrestle me is actually an actor and a stuntman. And he never showed up. He disappeared. So now we're panicking. And Rob says, what are we gonna do? So somebody suggests that I wrestle with the fake rubber rat instead. Yeah, exactly. That was my response. And Rob goes, oh, yeah, you can make it work if you move the arms and wag the tail and Maybe you make the mouth move a little, and it'll work. And I knew he wasn't buying it himself, right? We were just buying time, right? So sure enough, about 2 hours into this silliness of me wrestling with a rubber rodent, Danny, the guy who played the rat, shows up. And we all crowd around, like, Danny, what happened? What happened? He goes, oh, I've had a heck of a night, Governor. I said, what happened? He goes, well, I was celebrating being in the film, and I went out and had a few drinks with a few of my mates. One thing led to another. I decided it was an early call time the next day, so I decided to go home. Now I have a special modified car. Because I'm small, I've got little pieces of wood strapped to my feet so I can fit the accelerator and the brake. So I'm driving along, minding my own business, when suddenly I hear a siren. And it's the police, isn't it? And they pull me over. And the policeman knocks on the window and he says, can I see your driver's license and registration, please, sir? And I said, officer, I wasn't speeding. He goes, you know what you were doing? I said, no. He says, you were doing 5 miles an hour. Step out of the vehicle, please, sir. So he steps out, right? And he's got this wood strapped to his feet. And the policeman says, what's going on? He goes, officer, please don't arrest me. I've got an early call time, I'm an actor, I'm working in a film, I've got to be on the set tomorrow morning, please don't arrest me. And the policeman said to him, oh yeah, you're an actor, what part are you playing? He says, I'm playing a giant rat. He says, in the back of the van for you, back of the van, come on, let's go. And he spent the night in jail, this poor guy. And this was before cell phones. So, you know, he got one call to production around 9 a.m. and that's how we tracked him down and bailed him out. There you go. Don't drink and drive. Thank you.